Kafer points to inferiority complex. Former Wallaby Rod Kafer believes that the Australian team's disappointing performances in Super Rugby are giving them an inferiority complex towards New Zealand sides. Australia's 5 Super Rugby teams have failed to win a game against their New Zealand counterparts in 11 matches over 6 weeks, whilst last year they only achieved 3 victories. The same gulf in quality is reflected in international rugby, where the Wallabies have overcome the All Blacks only once in 16 matches, going back to 2011. These worrying statistics have got Australian pundits calling for the axing of one local team in an effort to raise the competitiveness of the other sides in the conference, and speculation has been rife that it could be either one of the Brumbies, Melbourne Rebels, or Western Force who will make way. All the players here is how far ahead the Kiwi teams are, and eventually, as resistant as you try to be as a player, those things over time seep in, through the smallest cracks in a player's psyche. Kafer told Sky Sports on Tuesday, "You get the sense that our decline in performance, particularly against New Zealand sides, has unfortunately been consistent over the past 3 years. It's almost in the psyche now, that deferment to New Zealand, and it becomes self-perpetuating. Our performances against New Zealand teams have declined over a period of time, I'd say the past 3 years. Of course there's going to be uncertainty around the competition, but if anything that gives the players opportunities to be inspired and to play as if their lives depended on it." Saracens re-sign Wallaby Skelton. Saracens have announced that Australian international second-row forward Will Skelton will rejoin the club on a permanent contract. Skelton made 8 appearances for the men in black in an impressive 2-month stay at Allianz Park earlier this season, and he has put pen to paper on a 2-year deal to return to North London at the end of the Super Rugby season later this year from the Sydney-based Waratahs. In an eye-catching stint at Saracens earlier this season, Skelton slotted into the reigning European and English champions side with impressive ease, with his bulldozing carries, offloading game and committed defence endearing himself to the Saracens faithful. The 24-year-old, who has been capped 18 times by the Wallabies, will head back to Saracens for the beginning of the 2017/18 season. "We're absolutely delighted that Will is returning," said Saracens director of rugby Mark McCall. "In a very short space of time here, his contribution to the side was superb. He showed a real appetite to improve his game, and he was very popular among all the players and staff. There's still so much more to come from him, which is incredibly exciting for us, as he is already a proven international player, so we're looking forward to welcoming him back later this year." Skelton is Saracens' 4th signing for 2017/18 season, following the announcements that Wales international Liam Williams, Toulouse, and France hooker Christopher Tolofoy and Northampton Saints and England flanker Callum Clark will also be making the move to Allianz Park in the summer. "We have identified a handful of players who we felt would improve what is now a stable and developing squad, and we're delighted to have been able to wrap up these signings for next season," said McCall. "Will, alongside Liam, Christopher and Callum, will have an important role to play for the club going forward, and we're delighted to have confirmed the majority of our signings for next season." Speaking regarding his forthcoming return, Skelton said, "I am very excited to be returning to Saracens. This time around I am signing a longer-term deal, so it's been a really big decision and one I haven't made lightly. It's not easy leaving the NSW Waratahs, and the Wallabies. Daryl Gibson and Michael Cheika have been fantastic for my career so far, and I want to thank them for everything they have done for me on and off the field. Not being able to pull on the gold jersey while I am playing in England has made the decision especially difficult, but this is about family as much as it is football. One day I'd love to play for Australia again, and if that opportunity comes up I will give everything I've got for my country. My wife Kate and I are looking forward to working and living on the other side of the world, and everything that brings." Kings and Cheetahs. Stransky. World Cup winning Springbok Joel Stransky urged Sanzaar to release their new Super Rugby plan soon and believes the Cheetahs and Kings should be dropped from the tournament. The competition has come under massive scrutiny after plummeting viewership, and the organisers have responded with several teams in the frame to be dropped, with the Southern Kings, Cheetahs, Melbourne Rebels, Western Force, and even the Brumbies all being threatened with the guillotine. Stransky called for the board to announce their plans so that franchises can learn their fate. "I think they need to make that announcement and be upfront and say that's how it is. Here are the reasons, like it or lump it," he told New Zealand's Radio Sport. "To be frank, it's the only way." Speculation and whispers have formed the hypothesis that South Africa will lose 2 franchises while Australia would lose 1. The former fly half and now Supersport commentator believes that the Kings and the Cheetahs should be booted from the tournament. Financially, they, Southern Kings and Cheetahs, are not sustainable. They have very low supporter bases during Super Rugby, he said. "They're in the middle of the country, they churn out great young talents, but they are not places that can economically sustain a team." Stransky explained that 4 strong sides would be far better for South African rugby. "We need a smaller pool of professional players that we can pay more," he said. "We need 4 Super Rugby teams that are strong, willing, and highly competitive, so we can breed a winning culture and that can go right. We need 4 Super Rugby teams that are strong, willing, and highly competitive, so we can breed a winning culture and that can go right the way up, hopefully, to Springbok level." Room affecting morale. Haylett-Petty. Western Force fullback Dane Haylett-Petty explained that speculation that his side may be cut from Super Rugby next season are starting to damage the morale of the team. On March 11, governing body Sanzaar, which comprises the Australian, New Zealand, South Africa and Argentina rugby unions, said it would make its decision on the 18-team tournament's future format in the coming days following final consultations with stakeholders. Since then the Force, along with numerous other teams, such as fellow Australian sides the Brumbies and the Rebels, have been sweating over their futures after being linked with the cut. The Perth-based outfit were beaten 24-15 by the Blues at Eden Park on Saturday, making it their fourth loss of the season, and Haylett-Petty believes the constant rumours swirling around the side are beginning to affect the players. Last week was probably the first time where you could see it was affecting a few of the boys, the Wallaby wing told stuff.co.nz. It was the first time the pressure really came on the Force. It definitely influences a few of the boys, but everyone handled it quite well. The tough thing is each week there's been a new report of something that's being leaked. 2 weeks before it was the Rebels and the Brumbies, and then last week it was the Force. Things are just popping up because there's all this uncertainty surrounding it. At the moment we can't really count on any information that's coming out. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Mason applauded team environment. Waratahs fly half Mack Mason praised the team environment at the Sydney club after his Super Rugby debut against the Crusaders. It wasn't the finest performance for the Tahs, who went down to the men in red and black 41-22. Despite the loss, Mason had a decent day on the paddock after assisting in the Waratahs' 3 tries while kicking well from hand. Mason praised his teammates for making him feel welcome so quickly. Coming to the Tahs, it has been easy moving down here, the debutant told the Waratahs website. Guys like Rob Horne and Jed Holloway in particular, who make it easier for us really younger guys to fit in. Great culture, great blokes, and everyone's in it for each other. There isn't a bad bloke amongst the players or the coaches, so it's very good. The rookie number 10 applauded Foley's influence as well. It's been really good. He gives an awesome insight to his thought process on the field, so he's definitely been a key help over the last few months. Head coach Daryl Gibson summed up the 20-year-old and his time at the Tahs. A really calm, cool-headed young kid. He has been working really well and he's really earned an opportunity to start for us, Gibson said. After a stint at the Melbourne Storm, Mason headed home to Queensland, where he was a part of the Queensland country side in the NRC. Called up to the Australian U20s side, Mason played a key part in the historic defeat of the New Zealand U20s with his contribution of an 82nd minute penalty kick to seal their fate.